In this video, we'll look at the notes on the fretboard and how to memorise them. Knowing the notes on the fretboard helps you to understand and remember chords and scales. We'll go on to look at intervals more closely, but for now, you need to know that on the guitar, one fret movement anywhere on the fretboard represents a semitone or half step in music. 2 frets movement represent a whole tone or whole step. In standard tuning, you remember the notes on the open strings are, from the bottom 6th string to the top 1st string, E, A, D, G, B, and E. So on the 6th open or unfretted string, the note is E. Now, you should remember that the notes E and F are always a semitone or fret apart, so the note at the 1st fret of the 6th string is F. If we play an open G chord, and we'll look at chords in a later video, you can see that the root note G is at the 3rd fret of the 6th string. G. At the 5th fret we have A. This is the same note as the open 5th string. There's usually a position marker on the fretboard at the 5th fret. You can see the dot here. One whole tone up, 2 frets up at the 5th fret we have B. Now the notes B and C are always a semitone apart, or a half step apart, or a fret apart. So the note at the 8th fret is C. One whole tone or 2 frets up is D. This is the same note as the open 4th string. And finally at the 12th fret we have E again, 1 octave higher. There are usually 2 position markers at the 12th fret to show the octave position to the open strings. You can see there's 2 dots here. On the 5th string, remember the 5th string open is the note A. A whole step or a whole tone up at the 2nd fret is the note B, which is the root of the common open chord B7. As we've already said, the notes B and C are always a fret or a semitone apart, so the note at the 3rd fret is C, the root of the common open C chord. 2 frets up, at the 5th fret we have the note D, which is the same as the open 4th string. E is at the 7th fret, a whole tone, whole step, or 2 frets up. And remembering that E and F are always 1 fret and a semitone apart, F is on the 8th fret. G is a whole tone or 2 frets above F, so is on the 10th fret. This is the same note as the 3rd open string. Once again, when you get to the 12th fret, it's an octave above the open string, so we have A again. Moving on to the 4th string, the open 4th string is D. You can use octave shapes to identify the notes on the 4th string using the notes you have already learned on the 6th string. So for example, if you play the open E 6th string and play the note on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, it's an octave up, so it's an E. Similarly, play F on the 1st fret of the 6th string, and the note 2 frets up on the 3rd fret of the 4th string is also an F. So the note at the 5th fret on the 4th string is G. And the note on the 7th fret is A. The note on the 9th fret is B. And remembering that B and C are always just a fret apart, C is at the 10th fret. Finally, the 12th fret is D, an octave above the open D, 4th string. On the 3rd string, we can use the same octave shape to identify the notes on the 3rd string using the notes we've already learned on the 5th string. So we know that the open 3rd string is a G. If you play an open A 5th string and play the note on the 2nd fret of the G string, you can see it's an octave up, so it's an A. Similarly, with B at the 2nd fret on the 5th string, so 2 frets up on the 3rd string is a B, an octave up. And knowing that B and C are always a fret apart, C is at the 5th fret on the 3rd string. And using the same idea, we can see that D is at the 7th fret and E is at the 9th fret. And since E and F are always a fret apart, F is at the 10th fret. And finally, G is at the 12th fret, an octave above the open G of the 3rd string. On the 2nd string, we can use the same octave technique, but with a different shape, to identify the notes on the 2nd string. Now we know that the open 2nd string is a B, and we know that B and C are always a fret apart, so the note on the 2nd string at the 1st fret is C, which is also an octave above the C on the 3rd fret of the 5th string. So we can use the same octave pattern. You can see that D is at the 3rd fret and E at the 5th fret. E and F are always a fret apart, so F is at the 6th fret. G is at the 8th fret. A is at the 10th fret, and an octave above at the 12th fret is the B, an octave above the open B string. 1st string, the notes on the 1st string are the same as those on the 6th string, but 2 octaves above. Sharps and flats. You can see from the fretboard that the octave is divided into 12 notes. We have 12 frets. The notes in between the ones I've shown you are the sharps and flats in music. These are the black keys on the piano. So taking the open E 6th string and ascending a fret from F, we have F sharp. Or, descending a fret from G, we have G flat. So the notes F sharp and G flat are the same pitch and are said to be enharmonic. Similarly, we have G sharp or A flat, A sharp or B flat, C sharp or D flat, and D sharp or E flat. And the same pattern follows on all the other strings. G sharp, A flat, for example. Memorising the notes on the fretboard will aid your understanding of the instrument and help you progress further down the line.